where would we put in the other conditions? For example, searching for a tag or filling out a checklist. I've, attached that record. I've uploaded that record
Yep.
because I'm not doing it. Somebody else is. So I have to like spoon feed them.
So this is the exciting part. Okay. So, I love it when users ask this, because Cody was asking me, will users use that? So I'm going to show you what's coming up, and I'm not going to push this until Monday, because technically Kathy and I are going to our annual marriage retreat this weekend, and I don't want to screw anything up and have to break away from my marriage retreat. So this is our 27th year.
I can call him and he won't answer. Just
yeah. This is
congratulations.
Thank you. This is our 27th year of doing our marriage retreat with our church. This is an annual event. We have 87 couples that join us, and we do a big production and stuff. So it's something that I look forward to every year, is just making that happen. But so the other question was talking about checklists, and this is the version that you guys are running on right now does not have checklists, and it just because it didn't quite make it in the cut list, but we now have them, or at least we'll have them starting Monday or Tuesday for you guys. So let me go to listing here. And so whenever you're looking at the different routine activities, send a reminder to the seller, it's set for auto. The reason why it says auto there is that if I click on it, it has an action that is selected. So it's going to automatically do this action whenever it's that way. So all of these are set to auto, and it's going to do stuff. Whenever it has actions, it shows this little lightning bolt and the number of actions that are available. In this case, this one here has 2 actions on it. One is to send a Slack reminder. Oh, that's another thing, Pam. If you are using Slack, you could send yourself a Slack message, just like or your team a Slack message saying, "Hey, this routine started."
Okay.
Okay. But in this case, I've got 2 different actions, and because I've got 2 actions, it's showing a lightning bolt there with the number 2 on there. Now I have here a listing routine. So whenever I put a listing date in, there is right now one thing that it creates on my calendar, and it has 3 actions, but we've got something new here, which is showing you how many checklist items are on there. So I'm going to go in here, and you'll see now that we have, not only do we have actions available, but we also have checklist items that you can create. Now, if a routine activity has checklist items, then each of these checklist items have to be dealt with, either check them off or mark them as not needed before the actions will run. Okay, so if you look over here, there's a little indicator here that says 4 completed checklists. So I've got 3 different actions that will run once all of my checklist items are checked off. Now, each checklist item has some really cool features. I've wanted this for years. I can't tell you how excited I am to allow you guys to have this. Number 1, you can create just, let me go to one that's just a static checklist. So order sign. I just want to make sure that I have a checklist item. Did I order the sign? And if I did, I can check it off. If I didn't, it'll be blank. I do have an option on here that says it must be checked, meaning I can't use the little circle slash, the ignore option. It has to be either unchecked or checked. If I leave this off, you could ignore it, basically saying, yeah, it's there, it's on my checklist, but I really don't need it this time. I can circle slash it, and it's considered complete, even though I didn't need it or do it. You also have the ability for your checklist items for those things that are really, really important. I really need to order this. I can set it up with a color. So my checklist colors get colored in. And this is just an example. So I've got one here that's a green one. So verify the price. I made it green. So it'll show up as a green checklist item. So the whole purpose of this is to, set up your checklist. If it's required, it has to have a checklist. It'll show this little checklist here. You can reorder your thing. So if I want to, put my sign at the top, I maybe install the sign at the bottom, whatever. You can set those however you want in the system. Now, whenever that happens, whenever I create that, it's going to add it to my calendar. So let's see if I've got one in here on list date. So here is my on list date piece, and it's an activity, and I go to complete it. It says, hey, you've got some checklist items that you need to deal with. And in this case, I've actually done them. So I've checked off that, it's active. I wanted to check the status of the field. So not only do we have single checklist items, we can also change values of fields. So if I want to change something from active to pending or pending to active, I can do that. I can change things. Here's the green one where I said I wanted it, I want it green, and for you to put in, verify the price. So if I click in here, I can, verify the price. I click save, and it auto checks it because I did the process. So you can do these different things. As you check them, it'll tell you how many's completed of the total. And in this case, there were 3 actions for this. Those 3 actions cannot be done until these checklist items are dealt with. So I can / them. No, I don't need to order the sign. I don't want to install the sign, but I do want to make sure that's active. Once everything is dealt with, there's no blank checklist items. Then I can come over here and I can run my actions that I want to run. So I want to send a message and I want to update some fields. I can click on run and we're good. I'm hitting you with a lot, but there's more. So one of the things that you might do is you might have a case where there are incomplete items, but you still want to do something. So here, these are just kind of bogus checklist items I was doing late at night and couldn't think of anything else. So, do they have pets or not? I don't really care, whatever, but I've got one item that's not checked, verify transportation. Okay. I have set up on this particular routine that if there's an incomplete checklist, I might want to run something that deals with that incomplete checklist. Maybe I want to send a message to the sellers, the listing agent saying, hey, I don't have my signed documents. And it might have, do I have signed documents? And if it's not checked, I might want to send that listing agent the message, hey, I still need my signed documents. So I could run this and it would run it, it would send it, and then it could come in there and then reschedule that activity 1 day out, 2 days out, or whatever. But now I can, if I come back, a couple of days later and I check that item, I got my verification done. Now I've got some actions that can be run because I've got a complete checklist. You can do all kinds of different things for different field verifications. Do I have my categories? Do I want to save them as, whatever? Maybe I want to remove some tags. I want to verify my tags are set up right. And if they're right, I'm good. And then, I can just close it or whatever. So now if I go to Mark here and look at the contact record, that 8x8 is no longer in there. It's been changed to a B category. and I forget what else. Now, one thing that we're doing, and this is another thing I've longed for many years, is we've added a new area called checklists. In the contact, property, listing, and transaction area, any activities that have checklists assigned to them, you can see what those values of those checklists are, and you can even check them, pre-check them for that activity to be done. So in this case, it has checked everything. Let me turn off that verify transportation. I want to turn that one back off, and let me go back to this activity. If I say I want to look at this now, my transportation checklist is undone. So we can now control that from the individual contact record. And why that's important is that you, in the past, you've only been able to check these off when the activity comes up. Well, maybe you know that certain things have been done. You can go to that contact, check them off. And then whenever you do come to this, these things are pre-checked for you.
Nice.
Additionally, if they're all checked and you have an automation, it'll do it for you automatically. You don't have to do the automation manually because it has a checklist. If the checklist is all complete because you've done it in the contact record or the property or transaction, it'll run for you automatically. Likewise, if you've got checklist items that are incomplete, but you've told it that you want the action to run automatically on an incomplete checklist when it's due, this sending of the message to the listing agent saying, hey, I don't have my listing documents, can be sent automatically if you've not completed it at a certain time. If you want that, you don't have to turn that on, but that's just one thing. So you have now complete control over your checklists and the ability to run those checklists very easily. So here's that routine that has the checklists, and you'll see right here that I've got one of these actions is set up for an incomplete checklist. So if my checklist is complete, these are the two choices that will run. If it's incomplete, this is the only available action that can run. And you identify that now by a little checkbox. If there is a checklist, you're going to get two extra field possibilities. Allow on incomplete checklists only, and then the number of days to push forward. So if I do run this incomplete action, say I don't have my listing documents, I'm going to give that agent 2 days before this activity comes back due again, and I should have it by then. You can put that at 0 and it won't reschedule it. If you don't want to reschedule it, you don't have to, but this gives you that ability to push it forward X number of days so that it reminds you again, hey, it's time to check it again.
Nice.
I actually love that because my assistant, I'll say, why isn't this activity completed? Because it's showing past due, past due, past due. And then they get a list of them. But this would allow them to reallocate that piece of the checklist that they weren't ready to check off.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So this has been a big undertaking. There's been, and kind of why we've not done all the updates that I wanted to do recently, but this was important. And the more you think about how you guys do your business, this is so important on what you're able to do. You can set up, basically we're setting up a checklist library. So any checklist thing that you customarily do, you can have in here. Now, the other thing that this allows us or affords us to do is we can have the same checklist item, say verify employment at the very beginning, and maybe we have one at the very end. It's the same checklist item. So if it's checked on one, it's checked on the other. Now, if you need it separate, you could do like a second verification and have it as a second choice. And it has, then it's, you know, it's considered a different checklist item. But what that allows us to do is to say, well, I may have multiple routines running, and each of them could have checklists. Some of them may have the same checklist necessity. I need a certain thing checked on both routines. If I check it in the contact once, it's checked for every one of them for you. So you no longer have to recheck things that you've already checked off.